Hi, I'm Prita Kemalgani. I'm the CEO and the founder of the London School of Public Relations Jakarta, and I'm the president of ASEAN Public Relations Network. I also appointed as the chair of Asia Pacific Regional Councils of a Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communications Management. Global Alliance and APRN knows that education and training play a significant role in the services offered by our members worldwide. Continuing education and training in public relations and communications are the basis for professionals to enhance and strengthening our personal and communications capability. That's why we at the Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management have decided that April 2021 as a Global Education and Training Month. With this long month focus, we wish to unify Global Alliance and APRN members' activities and multiply our collective effort. This time around, I have been appointed to lead the GA Education and Training Month campaign as the chair. As part of the campaign, APRN ASEAN Public Relations Network is preparing various content such as video on demand, webinar, conferences to be shared to Global Alliance and APRN members for free. In this opportunity, I would like to invite you to participate and support on this Global and Education and Training Month. See you!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nadine Samala, and it is a pleasure for me to be facilitating this event, Global Education and Training Month 2021 live session, which will be about technology roles in scaling up the education and business in the region. In this afternoon, I would like to say welcome to our honorable speakers. Ms. Ana Pista, 2019 to 2020 Vice President External of PR Society of the Philippines and CEO of Ardent Communications. Mr.Novistiar Rustandi, co-founder and CEO of HarukaEdu. And also welcome to our honorable staff and lecturers. And last but not the least, I would like to say the warmest welcome to our beloved students and all the participants for today's event. ASEAN Public Relations Network, in collaboration with Global Alliance for Public Relations and Communication Management, organized the second Global Alliance Education and Training Month for the whole month of April 2021. Continuing education and training in public relations and communications are the basis for professionals to enhance and strengthen our personal and communication capabilities. That's why the Global Alliance and APRN are dedicating April 2021 for global education and training. This time around, Mrs. Prita Kemalgani, MBA M.Si APR, as the chair of Asia Pacific for Global Alliance, has been appointed to lead the GA Education and Training Month campaign. As part of the campaign, APRN is preparing various contents such as video on demands, webinars, and conference from expert speakers from all over the world. Every Friday for the whole month of April 2021, APRN will hold a series of live webinar sessions from a list of powerhouse speakers. And today marks the second webinar, and today we're going to discuss about the technology roles. Without wasting more time and moving on to our main session of this beautiful afternoon, please allow me to introduce our co-moderator for today, Mr. Deddy Muharman. Mr. Deddy now is the head of Thesis Department for Undergraduate Program of LSPR Communication and Business Institute. He has a deep passion of technology in education in his research and always tries to implement technology in any side of his job and his lecturing. Mr. Deddy now has interest to learn more about design to help himself and others to develop interesting teaching materials which help students to gain more understanding about the subject being taught. Now, to Mr. Deddy, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Nadine. So, good afternoon, everyone. It's really nice to see everyone again in this very special moment, very special occasions in the Global Alliance Education and Training Month and webinar. So today we will have two great speakers to talk about this topic with their own specialty, and I think we will learn so many things today. We will have great discussions with the speakers, and also it's become the part of this important event of the Global Alliance Education and Training Month in this 2021. So without any further, I would like to introduce our first speaker for today, Pak Novistiar Rustandi, which is one of the co-founder and also CEO of HarukaEdu. Pak Novis is the co-founder and CEO of HarukaEdu. The main goal of establishing HarukaEdu is to create quality online education for Indonesian wherever they are. And with special attention in the field of education, Pak Novis have taught entrepreneurship at BINUS International and Surya University also. In addition, he has also served as an advisor at the Center for Technopreneurship at Surya University and has also served as a manager in the Jakarta chapter of the Founder Institute, a global network of startups, mentors, and investors in Silicon Valley. Pak Novis also has an MBA and a Master of Science in Information System Technology from the George Washington University. So, Novi, are you there, Pak?
I'm sorry, I was still in mute. Yeah. Hello, Pak Deddy. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. How are you, Pak Novis?
I'm doing very well. Thank you here in Jakarta.
Okay, Pak. So I think we can start your session first, and then to be continue later on with the second speaker, Miss Ana Pista from Philippines.
Okay.
So the time is yours, Pak Novis.
Thank you, Pak Deddy. I will just start with my presentations. Can we please have my presentation on the screen? Okay, great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, before I start my presentation, I would like to introduce Pintaria, which is our lifelong learning and career platform, or a website where people can find different online degree and training programs, right? So we have a tagline, improving life through lifelong learning, because we believe people has to keep on learning, right? And yeah, because today we are talking about how technology are helping education to scale. So I would like to share our experience in developing this online learning platform for Indonesia. Next. So I think I just want to give a bit of statistic about Indonesia, especially, and also other Asian, other country in Asian. So Indonesia is a country with about 271 million population. It's number 4, the most populated country in the world, basically, right? And total with other 6 Asian countries, we have about 583 million population. And from this much population in Indonesia alone, about 74% of Indonesians have access to internet already, right? And it's still growing very fast. So if you can imagine like the total number of internet users in other 6 countries, so maybe we believe it's going to be about another 75% of 583 million, which is a lot of people, right? So that's why, because many people get access to the internet, now it's becoming more important, or for technology, to help scaling up education in the region, and especially in Indonesia. Next, please. Okay, and then what happened is like very interesting in the last year, in the last couple months, right? Everyone know it's very sad that we got this COVID-19. However, because of this COVID-19, where government are encouraging or even requiring people to stay at home, right? Many of the activities starting last year must be done at home, because we cannot go out home because of the pandemic COVID-19, right? So there are a lot of changes in internet economy sectors, right? That we call it internet economy sectors, and two of them have happening in the previous slide, still the previous one. Two of these sectors that are growing very fast right now is health tech and ed tech, right? Why? Of course, it's very clear. Last year, the government closed almost all schools and universities in Indonesia, and they required people or students and teachers and also lecturers to do online learning, right? Or study from home, and then using internet or technology as a media. Next slide, please. So what happened is like last year, there are great interest in online learning, right? And people are moving to digital platforms, right? And there was a jump in search for e-learning in Google, up to like 180%. And also homeschooling and Google Classroom, or anything related to LMS, online learning, right? Or learning from home, or anything related to technology, learning using technology was become very popular, I think, keywords, right? So because at the time people didn't really know what happened and what should they do. So they go to Google and they try to search what available tools they can use to continue on learning at home. So this is actually like the education transformation to online already predicted since a long time ago. But before the COVID-19, we believe that will happen maybe like 3 to 4, 5 years from now. But because of this pandemic, it was actually happening right now or since last year. Next slide, please. So many of adoption of technology in education are happening, as I mentioned before. And most of the adoption are done in 3 or 4 different areas, right? So the first one is online content, right? Live and pre-recorded. Just like us right now, we have a live session where we share our knowledge and talk to each other, right? Or content that already pre-recorded previously, right? Just like video, multimedia, also simulation or others, right? And the second one is, of course, practice and test question, also done online, and then video conference for live sessions, right? So all this form of using technology in education are very popular, becoming very popular during this pandemic and COVID. And we believe also will continue to become more like popular in the next couple months and years. Next, please. So I will just go straight to what are the impacts of this technology use and rules in the education, right? So especially because of now the use of technology become like a requirement, not an option anymore, right? Due to this pandemic COVID. So the first thing that I saw, and also we saw from the industry, is by using technology, we can connect key stakeholders, right? That are separated before, right? I will show you later who are the key stakeholders in the education sector in our country, in Indonesia, right? Previous slide. Not yet. Move to the next one. Can you go back to the previous slide, please? The one before this, another one, please. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Sorry. So the first one, technology rules are connecting key stakeholders. The second one, with using technology, we can make education more accessible to many people, right? Or making it more accessible. And the third one, using technology, we can improve the quality of education itself, right? So to show this 3 impact that technology play in the education sector, I will share our experience building Pintaria as our lifelong learning platform. Next slide, please. So Pintaria is a lifelong learning and career platform where a lot of, people can keep on learning in our platform, whether they want to go to college to get a degree and by taking online or blended learning degree program, or taking courses, right? Individual training prepared by our training provider partners. So we want to make sure that even though you graduate from high school, right, and you don't have a chance to go to college right away, because in Indonesia, participation rate for higher education is still about 34%, you can still learn something that will be useful for your career in the futures. Next slide, please. So what we try here is with this platform, we want to connect all key stakeholders, right? And we identify there are about 6 key stakeholders that involve or that affect the education in one country. The first one is industries. Of course, they are the user of the result or the product of educations, right? And then there is government, who usually play an important role as a regulator. And then, of course, there are learning institutions and professional associations. And then there are subject matter experts who are trainer and lecturer, and also learner, right? Next, please. So how we connect these all three different parties, right? So at our platform, we work together with universities to help them to go online and to transform their offline-online program into online and blended learning program that we offer to individuals, right? Most of them are working adults. And then when we create this new program, online or blended learning programs, because we don't require as many physical facilities from the learning institutions, we don't need a lot of classroom, for example, that we need to do offline or face-to-face meetings, right? We can, or we are able to reduce the tuition for this program, right? So one of the things that we use is full online program that will lower the cost of education or tuition up to like 50%. So that's why on the second one, the impact of technology in education, in scaling up education, is lowering the tuition, so we can provide more access to more people to have good quality educations, right? And then on the second one, in Indonesia, the government launched what they call it Kartu Prakerja program, which is a vocational training program for young adults. They provide money so the young adults can take professional vocational training program. And we work together also with training provider and LSPR to develop different online training program that we offer to individuals through Pintaria as well. So in this case, what happened is the government as a regulator provide funding, and we offer a lot of good training programs to people all over Indonesia, right? Because everything is done online, not through offline. So now people, I mean, we have like students from almost all cities in Indonesia, right? Even if from the cities that are now in the rural areas that previously didn't have access to good quality training programs or good quality degree program. And the third one, we also working with corporations to help them to go online by providing online training platform for their employees, right? So we work together with corporations, we identify their needs, and then we also provide this feedback to our partners, training provider and university, so they can update their curriculum or their training program, so they can provide skills that are needed by the industry faster. So this is what happened, and then the last thing that we want to do later, we want to connect next ones. Our individuals, learner at Pintaria, to our customer for B2B training corporations, so they can the other one can get jobs, right, and the other one can hire people with the right skills. So with this technology, the rules of technology that I just shared, the goal of providing education, better education, quality education to more people can be achieved very fast and with very efficient cost as well. So next, please. Okay, so I think that's my last slide from HarukaEdu. So I just want to share a little bit. So just a summary of everything that I just say already. The role of technology that I can see in scaling education in the region, especially in Indonesia. The first one is they are using technology. We can connect a lot of many key stakeholders. We can make education more accessible to all people through lower tuition and online learning. And the third one is we can make the quality is better because now very good quality trainer lecturers can be accessed by many people from all over the places in Indonesia. I guess thank you. And then if there is any question, please feel free to ask. Yeah.
Thank you, Pak Novis, for the presentation. So now I would like to invite questions or sharings from our participant for today. And I think we have like 10 minutes to do this question and answer session. Okay, please. Anyone from the participant? Okay, maybe before we have the questions from the participant, Pak Novis, maybe I would like to ask the question for you first, Pak. Is it okay, Pak? Pak Novis?
Yes, yes, Pak Deddy. Sorry, I'm
Yes.
having a hard time to find my Zoom at this moment. Okay, yes, please.
Okay, Pak. Ya, Pak Novis, I'd like to hear one of the important word from your presentation later about scaling up, Pak. How this technology can scaling up. I think almost everyone in this area, in this institution. But I read maybe several articles about how technology can apply in the education area is the readiness of the teachers of lecturers, Pak.
Yeah.
So you were mentioned about Pintaria, and I think that is one of the best LMS that we can use. But even though we have so many choices for the option, I think one of the most important thing that we also need to prepare is the readiness of the lecturers or the teachers. So what is your suggestion, Pak Novis? So maybe the lecturers and the teachers can use and apply this technology in the maximized level, so they can really use this technology in their classroom, Pak.
Yeah. I guess I think when we started online learning 7 years ago, a lot of lecturers or teachers were afraid that technology will replace them, right? Because they think that, oh, then we have everything pre-recorded, they don't need us anymore, right? That was 7 years ago. But actually, what we learned from what happened is like teacher who are not familiar with technology will be replaced by teacher who are familiar with technology, right? But technology itself will not replace teachers, right? But the rules is actually different right now. So before we use technology for teaching, for example, right? Teacher has to to talk again about the same theory or about the same knowledge every time they have a classroom meeting, face-to-face meeting, right? They repeat it again. But with technology, with the pre-recorded video, so they can do that once and then record their lecturer, for example, right? And after that, play it to their students, and they don't have to keep talking the same thing again whenever they teach. But what they can do right now is they can become a facilitator, actively become facilitator, encourage their students to ask questions and to have a good discussion, right? So I think the first thing, I think when you said that what they have to do, first, they should not reject the changes that coming to the education of technology. They have to open their mind, and be ready and adapt, actually. Because we are sure that they will not be replaced, but they can use technology to improve their learning process, to improve their also like student experience, learning experience, right? And that's what we should do, right? And then with the technology, actually, they can reach many or more people in almost everywhere, right? With the technology right now, so it's a big opportunity for them to also create a bigger impact in education, actually. So means don't close your mind, be open, right, and adapt to the changes, and then use it to your advantage to improve the student experience, learning experience, and your teaching experience as well.
Yeah, thank you, Pak Novis, because I think also you were mentioned about how everyone needs to connect to with this technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Pak Novis. And I would like to invite another questions from the participant. Please, if you have questions for Pak Novis for now. Do we have questions from the participants? Okay, we have one. Mr. Chung from Malaysia. Please. Okay. Oh, it's in the chat box.
Yes.
Okay. I will read the question, Pak Novis.
Okay.
Selamat petang, good afternoon, Pak. Many have suggested that this COVID-19 crisis can be an sorry, we have a call here. Sorry. Okay. Good afternoon, Pak.
Yes.
Many have suggested that this COVID-19 crisis can be an opportunity to move half of total normal on ground university campus teachings onto internet, to take advantage of the future of education that's more globalized and online, and to tap into this opportunity gap. May we know your view on this? Thank you. From Mr. Chuan, TP from Malaysia.
Yes, I agree with that view because we talked with several of our university partners, and most of them are not planning to go back to full offline, right, program, right? There are several reasons why they want to continue on blended learning or online, because they now realize that actually online learning can be done well and also can give the same result as long as it is prepared well, right? And the advantage of the online learning, I mean, it's like a lot of teachers, like lecturers who previously didn't want to teach online, now they feel like at least it's very convenient, right? Now they don't have to go to campus, right? They can just teach from home, right? They don't have to spend their time on traffic, especially in Jakarta, which is really bad. And they can still interact with their students through video conference, like VidCon, like we do right now, right? And with this blended learning or full online program, university do not need to have or to provide as many classroom as before. So by having that efficiency, they can increase the number of students that can accept. So they can improve, they can increase the number, of course, income as well. So based on our discussion with a lot of partners, they believe that not all of them will go full online, but they will do at least blended learning for forever, basically, right? They will not go back to full 100% offline on campus. And students also feel the benefit as well of online learning because the same, they don't have to go to campus. And then with online learning, they can use some of their time to do additional activities, for example, like internship, right? Working, or maybe like doing some social work or doing some research as well. So yeah, we believe that the trend of blended learning will continue, right? And more people will adapt to it, right? And the university also will do that as well. And then with this opportunity, as mentioned before with online, now they can reach even more people in location that they previously cannot touch, yeah, they cannot serve, right? So I think the trend will continue, and it's becoming more important. And as you mentioned, a lot of people also say that many universities may be closed, right, if they don't adapt, because now previously, if you want in Jakarta, for Indonesia, for example, if you want to go to good schools, right, you have to go to maybe like big cities like Jakarta, Surabaya, Bandung, right? But if these universities are going online, then people do not have to move to another city. Yeah, they can just study from the city wherever they are. So that will, of course, result in traditional university have to adapt or they have to close down. Yeah.
Novice, Mr. Chong, I think that is the answer from Novice for your question. And yes, I do agree with you, Pak Novice, that I think that we will continue this trend, ya, Pak.
Yeah, I also believe that
Okay.
many partners also believe that this trend will continue. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Okay. So I think if there is no more question for Pak Novice, we will continue to the second speaker, Miss Anna Pista. Yeah, so I would like to read her brief. Yeah, Miss Anna is a seasoned PR professional with more than 20 years of experience in PR campaign ideation and implementation. Seeing the need for a local PR agency to service tech companies and backed by her experience working with technology brands, Anna founded Ardent Communication, the country's premier tech PR agency, in 1997. During this time, the most other agency focused on lifestyles and FMCG brands, but with digitalization starting to gain traction locally, Anna saw the opportunity to differentiate the company by specializing in technology communication and working with huge tech brands such as Microsoft, Norton, and Symantec. Yeah. With her commitment and guidance, Ardent.com has now evolved into a full IMC agency catering to a wider range of brands across different industries. And besides serving as CEO of Ardent.com, Anna is an active member and board director of the Public Relations Society of the Philippines, working with different leaders in the field to upgrade PR and communication practice in the country. So, Miss Anna Pista, are you there, Miss Anna?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. And thank you so much for the wonderful introduction that you just mentioned. Yes, I'm honored
Thank
to
you.
be here.
So I think we will give the time and the screen to you, Miss Anna.
All right, so I'll take it away. So good afternoon, everyone. First off, allow me to thank APRN for the privilege of having this presentation among our communications experts and the student around the globe. It's my honor to be part of the roster of speakers to speak about our profession and share some of my insights about what's going on around us and how we can, at least as one, handle and learn from one another, keeping the fire burning and hope rising in the midst of this pandemic. I was asked to share something about technology and how this will help propel business onward. Thus, I thought of sharing something about the matter and entitled my presentation, PR and Tech, the Way Forward. Obviously, we are in an economic free-fall, thanks to the pandemic made worse by a litany of mishandling by governments. Unfortunately, the PR industry is still reeling. According to the survey released by the International Communications Consultancy Organization, or ICCO, last April 2020, 77% of PR agencies are staring at huge losses. I think we're in the next slide. In the Philippines, most agencies have gone through a painful process of reduced salaries, stopped hiring, froze promotion, and letting go of staff. This is not uniquely Philippine situation. I believe when I had a meeting with most PR communications practitioners, this is the same problem that we face in Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, name it, and even in the parts of Europe, EMEA, and the US. So it is the reality. We took quite a beating in 2020. The COVID-19 pandemic was beyond our control, a first for all of us, and has affected all areas of the communications disciplines. PR pros everywhere are faced with enormous challenges in the face of a large at-home captive audience. So, based on this, I identified two main hurdles PR pros need to face head-on. One, next slide, please. One is the societal expectations, and secondly, changes in available technology. With my presentation, I'll be discussing what has societal expectation, what has changed when it comes to societal expectations that has affected our industry and the business as a whole, and also what has technology brought us to be where we are at the moment. So these two things I would drill more on as I go ahead with my presentation. Okay, let's first talk about changes in societal expectations. Due to the pandemic, remote working, schooling, and confined living have become the new norm. I think it was emphasized and stressed by our first speaker earlier on. This is the virtual humanity that we're talking about. People are largely stuck at home. There was a time when 2/3 of the world population was under the Great Lockdown. Their salaries were reduced, some were fired, and no one was hiring. Mental health has become the new buzzword, underlining the uncertainty that gripped the whole world. The pandemic has forced PR agencies to niche down focus on emerging new consumer behavior. Now we're talking about new consumer behavior. This brought about the change in societal expectations. Let's narrow down. What are these new consumer behaviors brought about by the pandemic? Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, there. So I have enumerated these changes in consumer behaviors. If we will count it, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. And I will drill down every one of it so we could understand this better. First is the conscientious consumer. What has become the consumer's behavior during and while we're at it, at the pandemic? According to Therese Caruso, Managing Director of Zeno for Global Strategy and Planning, higher income consumers are considering their purchases more carefully, asking, is this the best use of my money? She said that cutting back their spending is mainly due to feeling guilty or sobered by watching others struggle. These are the conscientious consumers. I think every one of us attending this session, you could say that you're one of them. You don't just buy things. You just don't go to the mall anyway. We can't go to the mall anyway. So we are very conscious about what and how we spend our money. So that's conscientious consumer that we're facing right now. Number 2, Caruso added that large swaths of consumers have very low, if any, patience for the hype, drivel, or inconvenience that in pre-pandemic days mark consumer communications. So we're no longer at the hype, we're no longer at like looking forward to the new launch, what is the new feature of this product and all that drives the economy or drives the consumer marketing communications industry before. It is no longer the case. People have less patience in, listening and watching and seeing campaigns or messages that is super hype, drivel, or inconvenience, which was used to be the way of the game pre-pandemic time. She mentioned that brands are inaccessible, aloof, or don't take real-world problems may be forgotten in their businesses. This may go down the drain. Simply put, consumers now more than ever demand accountability for brands. So that's number 2. Aside conscientious consumer, there's accountability for brands, and that's where we focus our messaging on. Now, number 3, tiptoe around tone deafness. To top things off, Caruso stressed that no matter how appealing the product is, no matter how good the features are, or earnest a company, the reality is there's only one thing that millions of consumers across demographics, geography, and socioeconomic lines want this year. And that is to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Get their life back to something approaching normal. That is what I call tiptoeing around tone deafness. Number 4, strike one policy. According to Avra Lorimer Strategies, EVP of Hill and Knowlton, after a year of pandemic living, consumers are increasingly less forgiving of companies and brands getting it wrong and can cause irreparable damage to their relationship with the public. As much as consumers demand accountability from the brand, they notoriously follow the rule of what we call the strike one policy. Once you did it, you break it. So there's they have no tolerance doing mistakes. So PR pros is really having a hard time shifting from these changes of behavior. Now, what are the takeaways after mentioning this? Given this, Axicom EMEA CEO Kate Stevens said, share that creating simple, creative, and impressive experiences will be the key as we learn to interact with our consumers in different and in less intensive ways. So this is your takeaway number 1. Create messaging that are simple and sincere. Takeaway number 2. Messaging should be more human and relatable in the form of storytelling. Takeaway number 3. Consumers patronize brands that cry for change. According to MD Nicole's School of MSL, consumers want brands to share their values and be leaders for change that make tangible impacts in the world and on society, be that a meaningful focus on sustainability or taking a stand and using their brand voice to fuel social change. Proof point to this is the result of the survey done by Gartner, 2020 Gartner Consumer Behaviors and Attitude, pointing out that loyalty after 10 years has been displaced by equality as the value that consumers believe in the most. Before it was loyalty, for the longest time it was loyalty, but now it boils down to equality. Simply put, takeaway number 4 is you must understand that equality is the quality. It is important to note that consumers will be keeping tabs on companies whether they live up to their promises or not, as stressed by our experts. What's takeaway number 5? Value drives money. Kiri Sinclair, the CEO of Hong Kong headquartered regional firm Sinclair, shared her take on this matter and said that it is important to note that people expect more from companies than ever before and that their expectations will continue to grow, especially through to the younger generations who are putting their money where their values are. It is noteworthy to add what Sabrina Lynch-Taylor, Strategy SVP for Culture and Marketing Comms, said that our priorities as communications practitioners are to push the ship to put the good of the community first. Now more than ever, it is important to support communities in more meaningful ways than the marketing-led CSR campaigns that we have seen in the past. Given these changes in consumer behavior or the shift in societal expectations, what's the way forward? Next slide, please. The global PR community need to respond to this wake-up call. Sinclair suggests that we refocus and invest in brand reputation over tactical communications campaign. It is a must to refocus and invest in reputation as this is the long-term antidote to issues. She reiterated that companies should foster reputation and brand building campaigns over quick and loud PR stunts. She ended by saying, building trust in local markets through strong communications and visible authentic leadership messaging is the clear trend this 2021. Next slide, please. So here, it says that We have to focus in brand reputation over tactical communications campaigns. For all the PR pros listening out there, this is the way to go. Next slide, please. And this is our takeaway. Building trust in local markets through strong communications and visible, authentic leadership messaging is a clear trend this 2021. Since we are holed up and glued to technology, consumers are craving for human interaction. Virtual humanity is here and will not be gone in the foreseeable future. We need to connect, therefore, to assure consumers that there are humans behind the brand they choose. Humans like them who care about making great products and who want to make a better world. As PR pros, we need to offer solutions that help uplift the well-being of our consumers, ready to look into the future with messaging that embraces a positive outlook. So that's it. That's what the pandemic brought us to. This is the learnings that we have learned. There is really a shift in consumer behavior, and we need to really immediately attend to these changes and adapt to this shift of societal expectation. So that's the first one. Now let's go to the second topic. Let's now dive to the second main hurdle PR pros need to overcome. It is the changes in the available technology. Next slide, please. How are we as PR pros to move forward with the changes in technology in order to sustain, maintain, and propel our businesses to the next level? According to Aaron Sudaman, next slide please, Editor-in-Chief of Provoke Media, technology as the very fabric that knits modern society together can make or break the brand and the reputation of its agency. He mentioned that the public relations world is only too aware of how technology can be harnessed for good or for bad. Issues brought about by big tech are well known, ranging from data security to malinformation to misinformation to digital anxiety. Adding fake news and the proliferation of trolls and the rise of deepfakes in the overall picture, most people feel they are losing the ability to tell what is true and what is not. This is very much obvious in my beloved country. So the space for tech for good is crying and crying out loud and telling the PR pros, go grab me. Tech for good and the way forward. The above concerns and issues give PR pros an unprecedented opportunity to leverage, create, deploy, and push the rise and prominence of the tech for good space. For every bad things that happens to us, the good nature of people comes out. And even in our field of work, we strive to do good. And we strive to push for tech for good space. If communications practitioners will grasp and push tech for good, it will lead to increased competition among tech brands to offer better data privacy, transparency, accountability, and security to users. I think you are well aware of what happened to Facebook, the issue on data security, the problem with TikTok during the early pandemic days, and especially Zoom. So these companies were all blamed for the one that we needed the most during pandemic, but there's a fear of the breach in data security. According to Sanjay Nair, Edelman Global Technology Chair, businesses will continue to transition to cloud-based services to support virtual work environments and online commerce. Service providers should double down on investment in AI. Key players should move applications and data closer to users and connected devices to minimize cloud latency and improve services. Now, everybody knows about fake news. As to fake news, Nair said that PR pros need to see a different model emerge. One that does not thrive on sensationalism and attention economy for sustainable solution. So we PR pros has a very heavy responsibility. We need to fight trolls. We need to fight fake news. Abhinav Kumar, Chief Marketing Communications of Tata Consultancy Services, said they have seen the impact of fake news and targeted social engineering in the political world. He said that with rising economic nationalism, some of these capabilities may get oriented towards targeting companies and businesses. So, the communications departments, the PR pros, the communications experts need to be better prepared for dealing with engineered crises caused by aroused state or non-state actors. On virtual humanity, the remote first, digital first world we live in today dictates that PR pros need to spend time handling crises, become more attentive and quicker in crafting messages. Next slide, please. According to Kate Stevens, Axicom EMEA CEO, the immediacy and word flattening power of social media isn't new. However, it has forced us into a corner where we feel compelled to respond to a crisis or event without taking the right amount of time to think. Finally, the story of the 21st century first and maybe the greatest pandemic is still unfolding. The various narratives are intertwining still. The thread is being spun. This is the greatest story of our lives. Communications professionals should peek into the future and ask ourselves how we want to tell this story to our grandchildren. There are powers at work looking to hijack and change the narrative. We are uniquely situated as storytellers to conform or reform. Where will you be? When future generations ask, what did you do? How are you going to answer? All in all, there has never been a more interesting time to be in this profession. Thank you very much.
Anna, for the presentation. Thank you. And of course, I would like to invite more questions from the participant for Miss Anna. Although we have like 2 or 3 questions for Pak Novis, but we will discuss it later after question for Miss Anna first. Okay, so now let's hear question for Miss Anna from the participant.
Yes.
Check in the chat box first. Oh, okay. We have we have one question. Good afternoon, madam. What are your insights on virtual humanity when there are feedback about online interaction and consumer experiences that are too robotic, lacking of feelings, and less sincere? Okay, thank you. It's also from Mr. Chuan from Malaysia.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, I understand that things have become robotic, and especially now that we're just stuck at our specific homes, and we always face Zoom. There's Zoom fatigue and all that, and everything else that we say seems like robotic already. So the thing is, there's a big challenge for us that crafts these messages. So the thoughts is that we should know this. We should know that the people are realizing this. So therefore, what need be done? We have to think of what need be done, since we are the ones that craft messages and send it across to the market or to the target audience or to the consumers. So we have to challenge ourselves in making it lively, in making it authentic, in making it human, in making it relatable. That's why it is important more than ever that as writers and storytellers, we tell about the products that is something that everyone can relate to. it has to be more human. As I've stressed in my presentation, our job is to make it more relatable. The product not too far, but something that we can embrace, something that we could relate to, and something that we could immediately feel the benefit of using. It is no longer focusing more on the features of the product, because people are not so much concerned about that anymore. But the brand, what does it say? What does it do? And how quick is it responding to the needs of the people, not in a robotic way, but in a more humane way. So the key is be humane. Treat your product as something that has life, and express the product's features by telling the truth, by giving it heart that would really penetrate into the minds of the consumers.
Okay, I hope that will answer Mr. Chuan question from Malaysia.
Yeah.
Is there any more questions from the participant to Miss Anna? Okay, I will check. I think there is no question goes into our chat room. But Miss Anna, maybe I have one question for you. Is it okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you are mentioned about how consumer behavior is changing. That we have new consumer behavior, and I think it will ask the brand for or to become more sensitive. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, but how does technology can help in this sensitivity of this brand?
Okay, as I've mentioned, people are too wary of using technology because there's invasion of privacy. It's not the
Yeah.
robotic aspect of technology, but more on the invasion of privacy. Just like Facebook, for example, TikTok, and the first news about Zoom. Do you remember that
Yeah.
at the start of the pandemic,
Yeah.
people,
Yes. At the
the news
beginning. Yeah.
around the world is that don't use Zoom because it will get your data. And some
Yeah.
people not part of your data or community can join and get information about your community. So it was a scare.
Yes.
And so that's the scare of the people. That's what the people are worried about in utilizing and using technology. So how do we approach this? So as communications practitioners, we have to let these big tech companies know that they have to be more careful and humane in understanding the needs of the people and attending to it immediately. I will use Zoom as an example. After being battered that way, what did they do? Just like a child asking for forgiveness to her parents, they just ask for forgiveness. They did not do a PR stunt at all. They did not issue
Yeah.
a press release. They did not come up with a PR stunt about it. What they did was, when the crisis came about, they immediately talked to its audience and saying that we apologize for the mishaps and the problems, and we're attending to it, and that we are here to help you address the virtual humanity needs by our product, which is Zoom. As you all know, from 10,000, 100,000 users, it has blown up to too many users in a day. So that's the way they attended to it, just like a child asking for forgiveness, admitting to their mistake,
Yeah.
facing the crisis head on. So they're here, they're strong. There's no more crisis that they're facing as of yet.
Yeah.
And that's the way we humanize things nowadays. It's no longer stunt. When you do a CSR campaign, it's no longer about the sachets and the many things that you go about it. You know, it's just more on be specific with what you want to do and let it be felt by the community. So that's the way to do it. We're going back to basic,
Yeah.
doing what need be done, facing the crisis head on.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Anna.
Hello.
Also, again, if we still have time for more questions from the participants.
Hello. Boleh nanya? Can I ask questions?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
Silakan.
Maybe it's not a question, Ms. Anna. It's something that's that I like to share. I like the statement of equality is equality. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
If people are losing their sense of adequacy because of this crisis or whatever they call it, they're lacking. Some people lose their job, lose their confidence. People are no longer worried, but they are getting weary. When is it going to stop? And all that. The word equality, sometimes crisis is, we learn from history, it's also important to have a natural selection. Not all the 60 offspring of the crocs live, but the 1 and 2 live are the best. So is it also a way of interpreting the equalizing the imbalances that we have created in this world in terms of sense of adequacy? Because of that gap has been forever for a while. And somebody or Mother Nature or the divine is saying enough. Wake up, guys. Probably it's PR time to get more society into more coherent rather than, because we see polarities everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too happy being a PR professional because we're not doing much about it.
Yeah.
It's a self-interpretation. What I'm trying to say is equality also means equalizing, balancing out. That's just a provoking thought. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
I don't expect a straightforward answer. It's just bringing some discussion into the table. Thank you for allowing me to share my thinking. Thank you.
Yeah. I think, yeah, I very much 100% agree with you. When you talk about equality is the quality, it goes beyond just thinking about its meaning. It changes per situation, per society, per community. But at bottom line is, we need to equalize. We need to see things better. We need to do things with much thought and understanding of the matter. And that's also, as what you were saying, is part of quality, equality. We have to see things equally. We just don't need to see things one side of the story. We have to really know how to balance things so that we will be able to come up with solutions or recommendations to the clients that we handle and to the society or to the industry as a whole. Because now more than ever, they realize our job is very important. They realize that, the ones that crafts the messages that is being sent across to the public is very important, and that's what we do. So we have to really make sure that we no longer talk about loyalty here. We talk about equality here in different fronts.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Anna, and thank you, Pak Ermil, for the question.
Mm-hmm.
Do we still have time for more questions? Two more questions? Okay. Let's hear for more questions from the participants. Before we conclude everything for now from today's presentation from Ms. Anna and Pak Novis. Oh, sorry, I think we have questions for Pak Novis in the chat room. I would like to read the first one from Pak Sofian from Hasanuddin University. how the challenges and disadvantages for scaling up technology and how do we fix it. In my opinion, Singapore become good for technology and educational for ASEAN. And then also the second question for Pak Novis. Good afternoon, Pak Novis. Thank you for your sharing. I see HarukaEdu is one of partner Indonesian government in Prakerja program. Could you share your experience how this program affect the digitalization process of education in Indonesia? It's from Pak Bayu from Universitas Indonesia. Silahkan Pak Novis.
Yes, Pak Deddy, thank you for the time and also thank you for the question. So I will try to address the first question first from Pak Sofyan from Hasanuddin University. Yeah. So how the challenges and the advantages for scaling up tech and how do we fix it, right? In my opinion, Singapore become good for technology education for ASEAN. Yeah, I agree with you, Pak Sofyan. Yeah. I think Singapore is one of the best, actually not only in the ASEAN, but I guess their universities has a highest ranking, yeah, in not only in Southeast Asia, but also in the world, right? And US and also what's that? Nanyang, right? They are one of the best, two of the best university in the world actually. So for Indonesia, I think it's a big challenge. Yeah, if you want to improve the quality, what's that? Of education in Indonesia, but we believe using education, we can do that better, right? For example, you know that most educated Indonesians, after they graduate from university, they will go to big cities, right? Jakarta, Bandung, Jogja, or maybe like Surabaya to find jobs, right? Or to become teachers, right? Or become lecturers. But most of them are going to big cities. So what happened to smaller cities, right? And other local area in Indonesia? Because most of the most educated people are going to big city, who will teach at the schools, who will teach at the university, who will teach at the college at this rural or smaller city. So that may not be possible a long time ago, right? Or even like 2 years ago, right? Because everything must be done, was still be done offline, face to face, right? Which means like if you wanna teach, you have to go to the classroom. And then, of course, if you are in Jakarta, how can you teach people in Papua or how can you teach people in Sulawesi, right? But with technology right now, right, you can teach from everywhere, basically. So right now, even though you are living in Jakarta, you are teaching you can teach people or students in Papua or in other area without having you to go there and physically present in front of them, right? So I guess this is how the technology can scale, right? Providing better access to better quality teachers and lecturers to all people in Indonesia, for example, or in other country. So with this technology, we hope that more and more people, because we know based on our experience, a lot of practitioners, actually they want to share their knowledge, they want to become lecturers, but the problem is like at that time, they didn't have time to go to campus, like every night to teach. But with this online available and technology available, hopefully more and more people, practitioners would like to share their knowledge and become teachers, become lecturers, and teach people and anywhere in Indonesia. So this is something that we can do and that we are doing to overcome the challenge in education, like the quality of education in Indonesia, and to help areas or cities or people who are living in rural areas and previously didn't have access to good quality education or lecturer. That's for Pak Sofyan, and then for Pak Bayu, yeah, from Universitas Indonesia. Yes, this is also very interesting. The vocational program, training program that was initiated by the government last year really opened the door access to training to all level of people in Indonesia. So before pandemic, we only thought providing online learning to kind of like educated people, right? People with at least, at the time we believe, graduate from high school, right? Or people who has a college degree, or people who have a master and above, right? That's what we thought the target for online learning. But when you do the Kartu Prakerja, actually, the government prioritized this program at that time last year and also this year for people who actually got affected the most by pandemic, by COVID, right? Which means a lot of them are daily workers. And a lot of daily workers, as we know, most of them do not have a high education background. We have to provide training for people who have only elementary school background, junior high school, and high school background, right? So that's why when we launched this program in the beginning, previously we prepare so many advanced courses, right? Such as like coding, data analytics, and data science and programming, and all of these high advanced courses, because we believe that our target market were people who have good education background, right? But when the program was launched, we were surprised because we have to provide training for people from different segment of education, from elementary, junior, and high school, right? So we have to develop different programs, right? So what we developed, partnering with our training provider partners, like different entrepreneurship training program, which starting from the simplest one, for example, how to start selling your products online, how to take a photo using your camera from handphone, so you can start selling, right? Or how to become expert in air conditioning service, how to become massager, right? Or how to become, how to open your online coffee shop from home, something like that. So very, what's that? Simple but useful skills that people can use directly to make money, right? Or to start their own business at home with small money, right? So with that, what's that? Program, actually, now I guess many of Indonesian, at least 5.6 people who got the Kartu Prakerja last year and 2.7 this year, they got exposure to online learning right away. And they have to use their camera, they have to use their smartphone to learn, to study. And then we saw a lot of them actually doing very well. And most of them now are having their own business or get a job, right? So from the impact of this program. So I think it's very positive, and the acceptance of online learning actually is very wide in Indonesia. And we were surprised that we found that many of our students are actually older people, right? Age between like 30 years old sometimes, and they live a very small area, and they learn how to do some small business at home. So yeah, I think that's what our experience from the Kartu Prakerja, Pak Bayu. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Novis. I think that will conclude all the questions from the participants for today. And now I would like to conclude again what Pak Novis and Ms. Anna present before about how technology roles in scaling up the business and education in the region. I like the terms of scaling up, Pak Novis, especially. When we talk about how technology can help in education area and also in business area, which is Ms. Anna mentioned before, and how the brand should adapt to the new consumer behavior, yeah, and how brand also become more humanized, and that could be done by implementing the right strategies using technology in the business and also in the education area. Okay, I think that will conclude today's discussion. Thank you very much for Pak Novistiar Rustandi, co-founder and CEO of HarukaEdu. Thank you, Pak Novis. We really like to see you again in this LSPR campus, Pak.
Thank you,
So don't be hesitate to come.
Sure.
And Ms. Anna Pista, thank you very much. 2019 and 2020 Vice President and External of PR Society of Philippines and the CEO of Ardent Communication. Thank you very much, Ms. Anna, and I would like to giving back the time and screen to Nadine.
Thank you, Mr. Deddy. What a fruitful discussion we have this afternoon, and we hope today's webinar could enrich your knowledge, especially about technology and its roles to business and education. So all participants, please kindly check the chat box for the information on how to get the e-certificate for today's webinar, and also to know about our next webinar session with the topic, Business and Financial Public Relations in the Edge of the Pandemic. And finally, before we end the event today, I would like to request all participants to turn on the camera to have a group photo for today's webinar session. And of course, please give us your best smile. Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3. Did we get that? Okay, one more. 1, 2, 3. Okay, last one. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you very much. And once again, thank you so much for all our guests, students, and lecturers who joined us in this beautiful afternoon. Thank you, everyone, and please stay safe.